Time now for the Daily Answer, sponsored by Salem Surround on The Answer Now TV.
Friday, heading into the weekend, the Russia collusion hoax, we now know why. There was at least 2 attempts on Donald Trump's life, as far as I'm concerned, and why they were allowed to happen, as far as I'm concerned. We know why there were 2 impeachment efforts, as far as I'm concerned. We now understand the lawfare. We understand now in full why Donald Trump has been the target of the most vicious and literal, both political and literal assassinations in American history, perhaps, outside of Lincoln. We've never seen anything like it. And if you wonder what motivates it, is he really that big a threat to the deep state? Yes. We saw what the deep state is. It is real. Tulsi Gabbard, yesterday, 2988. Let's go.
The implications of this are, frankly, nothing short of historic. Over 100 documents that we released on Friday really detail and provide evidence of how this treasonous conspiracy was directed by President Obama just weeks before he was due to leave office, after President Trump had already gotten elected. This is not a Democrat or Republican issue. This is an issue that is so serious it should concern every single American, because it has to do with the integrity of our democratic republic. What we saw occur here, as the documents we released detailed, was that we had a sitting president of the United States and his cabinet and leadership team, quite frankly, who were not happy with the fact that President Trump had won the election, that the American people had chosen Donald J. Trump to be the next president and commander-in-chief of the United States. And so they decided that they would do everything possible to try to undermine his ability to do what voters tasked President Trump to do. So creating this piece of manufactured intelligence that claims that Russia had helped Donald Trump get elected contradicted every other assessment that had been made previously in the months leading up to the election that said exactly the opposite, that Russia had neither the intent nor the capability to try to, quote unquote, hack the United States election for the presidency of the United States. So the effect of what President Obama and his senior national security team did was subvert the will of the American people, undermining our democratic republic, and enacting what would be essentially a years-long coup against President Trump, who was duly elected by the American people.
Right. I can't say it better than she did, and I'm going to try my level best to frame this morning at the Harump Society. I'm going to share with you at the Harump Society a little later today, and I'm opening this up for free today. If you are not a Harump Society member, I'm opening it up because I want you to really, if you don't, and I know most of this audience does, but if for some reason you're newer to the show and you don't have a grasp of what we're talking about here, what she just said, I'm going to try to reaffirm it here in just a little bit. Not try to top her. Can't do it better than what she just did, but I'm going to try. And I tried to write it out yesterday, and I'm going to share with you. And the reason I'm opening the Harump Society up today is because I want this to seep into every single one of our bones. This needs to seep into the marrow of who we are as a republic. If you don't understand what she's saying, if you don't understand the significance of this story, if you don't understand how close we were to losing this country entirely to one-party rule, you need to. This story has to be right up there for all of history, and certainly for our immediate history. This story has to be right up there at the top of your list as some of the biggest concern that you have for the country. Yes, open borders. Yes, the economy. Yes, those things. But this, what Tulsi Gabbard is confirming now and what she's uncovered, this means the loss of the republic to one-party rule or not. Just so you're clear. So this whole pretense that we would have elections or even debate Republican, Democrat, it all hinges on what she's just uncovered. A little more here from yesterday, 2989 here.
I don't have the details on the specifics of the Mar-a-Lago raid itself. Those are within the possession of the FBI. But there's no question in my mind that this intelligence community assessment that President Obama ordered be published, which contained a manufactured intelligence document. It's worse than even politicization of intelligence. It was manufactured intelligence that sought to achieve President Obama and his team's objective, which was undermining President Trump's presidency and subverting the will of the American people. So yes, next week we will be releasing more detailed information about how exactly this took place and the extent to which this information was sought to be hidden from the American people, hidden from officials who would be in a position to do something about it. And that's really the point here that I think is most important, Maria, and you said it in your opening. Accountability is essential for the future of our country, for the American people to have any sense of trust in the integrity of our democratic republic. Accountability, action, prosecution, indictments for those who are responsible for trying to steal our democracy is essential for us to make sure that this never happens to our country again.
And if you hear this and you read these details Friday, you hear what she just said, you begin to understand what I think the last couple of weeks has been about. At least in my view. When I started to read and hear the particulars of this heading into the weekend, I thought to myself, now I see why Donald Trump has been so very, very frustrated with those who claim to be on our side, making another issue that I'm going to try hard not to speak of this week, but I doubt I'm going to be successful, trying to make another issue the biggest deal going. Do you get this now? If these people had succeeded in what they attempted to do in framing Donald Trump as a Russian agent or sidelining his presidency, which they basically did his first term, but you weren't convinced ultimately because of the free flow of information and, quite frankly, alternative media sources like this show, were it not for our ability to do an end around mainstream traditional media in 2020 and 2024, this may have stuck. And I think, when you see the hissing and the writhing and the screaming of the defunding of PBS and NPR, the last the Colbert show shutting down, these are the last vestiges of the left-wing media that had a hold on the public conversation and the way you consumed information. And they've just lost that control. They've lost that hold, and it upsets them deeply. And we've known that for a while, but the defunding and the cancellation is now the physical, tangible outgrowth of the public turning their back on these propagandist state actors in media. But had it not been for alternative forms of media and a new way of getting information, you would never have known what Tulsi Gabbard just said, what was just uncovered on Friday. And Donald Trump wouldn't be president for a second term. This is as important a story as anything you're going to hear, maybe in your lifetime and mine, I would suspect.
For full shows, live and on demand, it's Salem News Channel. Stay informed anytime, anywhere with the Salem News Channel and 9:30 a.m. TheAnswer.com. This has been The Daily Answer, sponsored by Salem Surround on The Answer Now TV.
It's Chris Stigall, and you're watching The Answer Now TV.